the man himself, Tim Montana and the Shrednecks, Butte's own, right here in studio with us. Tim, it's great to finally get to see you in person here.
I happen to be sleeping in the same building you were in.
It's like the Vice President of the United States all over again, sleeping in the same hotel, you know. Yeah, man, well, it's so great to see you because we've been seeing you on Fox and Friends. We've been seeing you on, I think, like The Late Show. You guys did the Red Sox anthem. You guys have really taken off here in recent years.
Yeah. It's always good to get back home, though.
Yeah. So talk about Tim Montana and the Shrednecks for maybe some of our listeners who aren't familiar with you and the band.
I grew up actually born in the Flathead Valley, and then
Were you really?
Yeah,
okay.
Grew up in Butte, Montana. After that, a bunch of family there. Then went to Nashville. I've been touring about 10 years after Dave Letterman discovered me at the Shoto Montana Rodeo. All good things come back to Montana, and Dave put me on the Late Show. We've been touring ever since, and been a songwriter as well. Wrote a couple singles for Kid Rock and Mac McAnally, and finally the touring thing's starting to take off for us, and couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and then you guys did the Red Sox anthem, so got a lot of national attention for that. And your latest song, your latest music video, too, I'm trying to think, was that released about last fall? But I remember it was you guys performed this hit live on Fox and Friends, and you had your buddy Rob O'Neill, the Navy SEAL who killed Osama bin Laden, also from Butte. So I know you guys are usually cruising around the countryside a little bit together as well.
Yeah, he did Hillbilly Rich with me, and I've been sending him music since I was probably 20 years old when he was deployed in Afghanistan and Iraq. And his brother, Tom O'Neill, was the first guy to play me in the radio in Butte. And then Rob got out, and he said, man, thanks for sending me music. By the way, I got a crazy story. So Rob has been a huge moment, or a huge supporter of my career, and connected me with Kid Rock and Fox and Friends and Charlie Sheen. Now we're doing a video with Charlie Sheen that's going to come out in September. And so it all kind of comes back to the old senior chief.
Yeah, well, that's winning. Hashtag winning for that one, yeah. And you're headed off to Scobey for Pioneer Days tonight, so it's going to be a great show. I mean, I'm trying to think of how best to describe you and your band. Love following your posts on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere else, seeing you on Fox and Friends, but get a chance to see you guys in person last night at the Alive After 5 in Billings. It was packed. It was a great show. There might be some folks who are going to now rally up and take their RVs to Scobey so they can see you again. It's kind of like a blend of ZZ Top meets the Mission Mountain Wood Band, meets Tom Petty, meets Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, I always say if ZZ Top and Waylon had a baby and Kid Rock raised it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like thinking about that. Gross.
Kid Rock raising kids. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, and you bring out an eclectic crowd. I mean, you appeal to all Montanans. You know, I saw some Make America Great Again hats there. I smelled some people smoking a little something. You know, there were old people, there were young people, there were kids dancing. You really just appeal to all Montanans.
Yeah, I think music's that thing that brings people together. Food, music, it doesn't matter if you're right, left, and you recognize good sound, and that's kind of part of the thing. So we got songs that are kind of all over the map.
But clearly you guys also bring, through your music, you bring a voice to the everyday Montanan. The people who like to get out and four-wheel and snowmobile and fish and hunt and hike, that are just sick and tired of the political correct nonsense that's out there in this day and age. At least that's what it seems like to me.
Oh, yeah. I get in trouble all the time because I'm just rambling. I'm uncensored, if you will.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, do you read a script? I'm like, no, man, I make it up as I go. They're like, well, I can tell.
So this guy, who was the guy on your harmonica last night?
It's TJ Watson on the harp.
You got a few other Montana guys that are part of the band, too?
No. I've got one of the guys from British Columbia, guys from Detroit, Asheboro, North Carolina, and then TJ's from Nashville. It's actually Kid Rock's neighbor. That's how I met him.
Really?
And he was selling merchandise for us, T-shirts. And then I heard him play the harmonica, and I was like, all right, get on stage.
Yeah, that
You're
guy's
fired
killer.
from selling T-shirts, bud.
Yeah. So do you got your show lineup ready to go for Scobey tonight and for Pioneer Days? Or do you know which songs you're doing and when and everything? Describe the show you got coming tonight.
We just kind of treat every show the same, man. We just hit it hard, and we kind of set list too. We just like feeling stuff, jamming it out, feeling it, just getting into the groove with the crowd, working off them, and so yeah.
You were doing like a Tom Petty track last night, and then all of a sudden you started mixing it up with a remix of Old Town Road. I was getting a little nervous. I wondered if the crowd might turn on you there.
That we actually talked about that. We love doing mashups, and somebody pointed out, hey, Old Town Road and Last Dance and Mary Jane go together, and we've done it a couple times where it was a big hit, and we did it a couple times where you don't know what people think, and you're like, is it okay to mix Tom with Lil Nas X? Like, I don't know, that might be sacrilegious.
Tim Montana, I know we got to get you on the road so you can make the show, but Talk about your show schedule. Where else can folks see you in Montana, or at least where can they go to check out your schedule and all that?
Yeah, all the dates are at timmontana.com or social media. You can find me. And then we're bouncing around Montana. Living in Nashville, God, it's too hot, too many people. I was like, what's your measure of success? I'm like, a log cabin in Montana. That's what I'm working towards.
Did you grow up off the grid? I remember interviewing you before. Yeah, you guys were completely, because we got some listeners north of the Flathead that I know listen to KJJR, listen to the show, and they're completely off the grid. No power lines coming. They're completely that's how you grew up.
Originally in Kyla, Montana.
Sure.
Where I grew up, and we were probably 20 miles from that little elementary school there, and it was lanterns, candles, learning how to shoot AK-47s when you're 5, just in case.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. Well, what's the message that you deliver in your concerts, or is it just about having a good time?
Yeah, it's about having a good time, letting loose. We do a ton of military support stuff. That's my favorite thing to do on the side. I'm actually doing my first charity that I'm running. It's called Tim Montana and Friends American Thread Sporting Clay Shoot. So we found 2 charity groups. One, Special Ops Excursions, that takes active duty soldiers on hunting trips and fishing trips, lets them unplug after deployments. And then Smoky Mountain Service Dogs. I wanted to take care of the active duty guys and the vets. And the Smoky Mountain Service Dogs, they get amputees and wounded veterans dogs, completely comp. And they operate off 2% and 4% overhead. A lot of these military charity groups really dig in and research, because these guys that are taking 70% salaries and giving 30% back to the troops, So we're doing that October 1st in Nashville. Going to have a bunch of different celebrity people there, NFL. And, so we do a lot of military support stuff. That's kind
great.
of our cause.
Thanks for what you do for the troops, because Montana's got some of the highest number of veterans per capita.
Oh, yeah.
And so it means a lot when guys like you and bands pay those tributes. Tim Montana, safe travels. Tell our friends up in Scobey, KCGM country, hello for us.
I will. Thanks for having me.